If you want to learn how to use arrays in Supabase, just like how we used to do in Firebase, this is the right video for you. In this video, I will teach you how you can use arrays in Supabase very easily. All you have to do is to follow this step-by-step process and apply it in any kind of situation, and it will work just fine. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing we are going to do is that we are going to do some setup. You can skip this part if you don't want, but it's good to give you an idea of how we are going to be working today. So here we have a Supabase project. So let's go to the table editor. Here we have some sort of tables. So let's create a new table for our test today. So let's say parties, for example, and let's disable this one. So party will have a name, which is a text, and for example, guests. So this guest will be a list of, so it's a text, but it's a list of text. This is the topic of the day, right? So let's define it as an array and let's save it. So we are going to be creating this new table. So let's actually go ahead and link this project to our app. So here we go to the data API, you copy the URL, you go to Supabase, sorry, to FlutterFlow, you paste that there. So you copy the ANL key and you paste it here as well, you get the schema. Good, so you have all of these tables, and we are going to be using only this one. So here, so to make things a bit faster, let's actually go back to the table editor and go to the, yes, the parties here, insert a new row, just like that. And let's say the ID was one actually, and say that John's party. Good. So the guest is going to be, so for all the lists, here is how you can write them. It's like that, and since what is inside is text, so you need to do this two strings or whatever they call it. You need to do two of them actually, and then you add Michael, for example, in the center, right? So we are going to say let's go with an empty string first, or this is a null value, and to be honest with you, like FlutterFlow and Supabase, somehow they hate the null values. They want something there, even if it was empty, they need something to be there. So let's put something there, just like that. This is an empty string, right? This is an empty not string, but sorry, it's an empty list. So let's save it, and here we have our first party. So here back in FlutterFlow, let's actually have a text field. All right. Yes, that's a text field, and we have a button below it. So yes, let's wrap it into a column. Let's then add a button. So the button will say add guest. So good. So let's wrap that again into a column, and we wanna, like, for example, when we add a person, we want to see him on the top. So we will have another column. This is for guests, right? So let's bring it to the top, or sorry, let's break this one down. So the list of guests, sorry, we'll have like this one here. So let's click on the big column and space the children's away from each other and bring them to the center. So yes, now it works fine. On the homepage, we want to have like some sort of a backend query. So let's click here. I had a backend query. It's going to be Supabase query. We are going to be querying the parties. Let's go with single row for the purpose of this video, because we don't want to build a complex project in order just to show you how it works. I just want to add some simple project, so we can just teach you how to use arrays in Supabase. That is it. So click on confirm. Now we have a backend query for parties. And now let's actually get to the point. This is where things get so exciting. The thing here, so the first thing we have to see is the problem, because you might come to this video not knowing what are arrays. You haven't used them, and you don't have to use them in all cases, but you came to this particular video without an idea of what are arrays and what is the problem. Actually, you might not know, you might know the arrays, but you don't know the problem with Supabase, because with Firebase it's good, but with Supabase it's not so good, but it's doable. We can fix the problem. So as I told you, this is going to be this is going to show us the list of guests. So let's click here. and say guests, and we are going to steal it or to just show it from here. So because dynamic children only works if you have a list. So when you click here, what that means, it means that this column will show you all of the lists, all of the guests of that of the party that you have here, and we only have one party, right? You remember that? So once you have set, so give it a name and give and bring the source. It's the list. So click on save, and they will give you a list of guests. Just make sure you don't keep it hello world. Click here, and now check it from here because you have a new dynamic children. Just open it. Don't open it and hope that you will get the name of the guest. No, when you open it, you only have the index in list. So what's the problem now? Here we want to show the name of the guest, and this is not an option. So where's the option? It's right here. Just click on it. That will show you the name, right? So if you want me to make a video about dynamic children, comment down below and I will make it for you. So now let's find out what the problem is. So when we click here, when we want to add a guest, so let's make an action. So the action is going to be to add guest. Just give it a name for easy navigation in the future. So it's going to be update row. And it's going to be parties. So the match row, the row that we want to update is going to be right. So we want to specify which row we want to update. So you might say, hey, that's wrong because we only have one party. There is no need to specify. We don't have a list, so we can specify which one we want to update. We only have one. Well, if we only have one, we can skip this one. But you have multiple, you can just set the ID equal to, and you need to specify the ID. You can check it from here, but that does not make sense since we only have one row. You don't need that anyway. So now what is the field we want to update? So we want to update this field, right? So you hope, or let's say that when you specify like someone here, you add, for example, Mike, for example, he will be added to the list, right? So since we have a text field, we want to bring the name of the guest from the text field. It's a widget state. All right, you see, that's the problem, right? So what's the problem? Can you see here? So you see that the source has to be a type equal to list, right? That's the problem. So when using Supabase and using arrays, you cannot actually work with them directly. There has to be some workaround. As you can see here, we just wanted to type name right here, and when we click here, we wanted to add him, but we don't have that value. We don't have that option. So we don't have the option to add someone. Like when you click here, you have to provide a list, right? You need to type some names here. So it's not actually good. It's not working fine. So that's a problem. And yes, let's go fix it. So now let's have a look at the solution of the problem. So here, let's draw something. So let's imagine that this is Supabase, and we have a list of guests. Let's imagine that yes, we have Mike, and we have John. So when you have a list, you need to add this one between items. So now the problem with that, what you have here, you have, for example, I don't know some name. So Nick, for example, you only have one person. You want to add him here. So let's say this was the list, and you have Nick here. You added it. You want to add him to Supabase. So Supabase will not understand. It will refuse that, right? It will just tell you, hey, it does not work that way. It will refuse it. Why? Because this is a list, right? This is what? List of strings. And this one is what? That's one, or it's one text, for example, right? So Supabase will tell you, hey, sorry, you cannot do that, and they will not allow you to add Nick to your list. So now what's the solution? So what's the solution? So here is the solution. It's very, very useful for everybody. So let's take this for example. So here is the list. Instead of adding Nick directly, here is what we are going to do. We want to come here and save it in a state in FlutterFlow, of course, right? Right here, it's inside FlutterFlow, right? So we want to have that. So we want to have the list. We want to save it inside a state. Then the next step is going to be add Nick. So when you want to add Nick inside the stage, right? You are still in FlutterFlow. So you are still in FlutterFlow at this point. So this will give you this new list. So let me just copy that from here. So here is still inside of FlutterFlow. Don't think it's inside of Supabase. Good. So it's again inside of Supabase. Inside of FlutterFlow. Sorry. So now we have done what? We have taken the list. This list is gonna be is come from Supabase. Sorry, yes, it's from Supabase. You save it in stage inside FlutterFlow. You add Nick. This is the operation. This is the result. And then what you do now? Because the goal is what? The goal is to save it in Supabase, not to keep it in FlutterFlow. So yes, now you have your final result. So here is what you have started with, and you have put that in stage. You have made the operation. This is the result. So what is next? What's our goal? Is to save this in where? In Supabase, right? Save it to Supabase, right? So you see that we tried to add one person to Supabase and we got refused. We didn't have the right to do that. But this is the workaround, right? This is the workaround. You check the value from Supabase, you save it in stage, you will do some sort of the operation, whether it is adding Nick inside the stage or removing him from the stage or to do whatever you want. We are going to see all of the operations in this video. So, and here, so once you have added Nick, this is the result, and this is the final part. This is the goal that we were rejected here. So we have to save that in Supabase. So all of this can be saved in these few ways. So save list from Supabase to FlutterFlow stage. It's really, that's the first one. Then do the operation, whether it is deletion, removing some person, or adding him. Do the operation, get the data back to Supabase, right? So here you do the operation here inside FlutterFlow, right? That is it. So if you can remember these three fundamental parts, then I don't think you will have any problem dealing with the items, or sorry, and arrays in Supabase. So again, save the list from Supabase to FlutterFlow state, do the operation in the state, and then get the data back to Supabase. That's how you do it. Because if you want to do it directly, like here, you want to add Nick, and Nick is only one, and the Supabase will tell you, hey, I cannot add him here. So what we do is that we save the list from Supabase into a FlutterFlow stage. We do the operation, whether it is adding Nick or removing him from the list, and then we can get the data back to Supabase, right? So now let's actually go and see a real application of all of what we have said so far. So again, remember that the first step is to save the list from Supabase to FlutterFlow stage. So let's have a stage first. You can go with a base stage, or you can do an app stage, or a component stage. If you are on a component, you can choose whichever you want. So I like to call it the lab. So the lab is going to be what? So we are going to be doing, let's actually come back here. So this is the this is a list from Supabase, and we want to save it inside of FlutterFlow. This is the list. It can only be saved inside what? Inside a list. So the same nature. They have to be same nature, because you cannot pick, for example, list of numbers and save it into a list of text, for example. They have to be the same nature. So the lab, since we are dealing with a list of people, a list of text, this is what we have did here. It's a list of text. So it's select string and list confirm. So now we have done the first step. We have like not the first step, but this is a prerequisite to have a stage. The first step is to take the data from Supabase and put it there in that stage. So let's click here. Let's say save data in stage. So how to do that? We have a page stage. Right, so we have a page stage and it's called the lab. So let's save the data in the stage. So set the value, which is we are going to set the value of the data from Supabase here in the stage. So click here. So where's that information? It's right here. This is what we are going to be dealing with. So save it there. That's the first step. Congratulations. Let's move on to the second step. So what is the second step? Do the operation. Good. So let's do the operation. Do the operation. So the operation will happen to what? It will happen to the lab inside of FlutterFlow. So it's again page stage, update. So where is this one? Here is the lab, and here is the operation. So just have a look at there. So we have almost, I think, seven options, and we have no one. We don't have any of this inside of Supabase. But here in FlutterFlow, in the stage, we have all of this option. This is the superpower of FlutterFlow. Their states have all of this option. You can set the value, reset the value, add to list, do whatever you like. But when you go to Supabase directly, they give you none of this. Maybe they will only give you this one. So what is the operation here? Let's say we want to add Nick to the list. So here is the operation. So we want to add whoever we type the name here in Supabase. So now you have access to that, right? Because we want to add. Now, what is the other step? So once you have made the operation, it can be, as I told you, add to list, remove from list. It can be whatever you want. So once you have done the operation inside of FlutterFlow, now it's time to get data back to Supabase, because this is our goal. We want to modify it, but get it back to Supabase. So get data back to Supabase. Yes. So this time we are going to update row, because we want to update the partial row, and we only have one. We don't need to specify the matching row. So we want to update what this time? We want to update the guests. But when we click here, let's have a look at that. So as I told you, we did the operation, and we want to take that information, like from here. We have added Nick. Here's the result inside of FlutterFlow. We'll check it and save it into Supabase. We should check all of these final results in Supabase, in FlutterFlow or in the stage. Check it all, save it here. So where's that page stage? Here it is. You see now I will click here and then I have saved that. So with Supabase, whenever you do some change in your data, like whether it is creation, updation, or deletion, you just want to refresh the app. How to refresh the app? You can just add the page stage here, like it's called refresh. Just call whatever you like, but just once you have actually once you have finished your operation, you just click here and say, for example, yes, you just refresh the app. So search for app stage. So it's not doable all the time. You can skip it if you like, but we need it. So refresh. You can set the value to a random integer. Just do whatever you like. Just set something random string, for example, from 10 to 20, and do this. So when you turn all of this on, you just increase the chance of randomizing that. So when the more it is random, the more it will refresh your app. Click on confirm. Now we have done everything. Let's actually go now and try it out. So here is the app, and now let's actually try to add somebody like John. So we tried to add him and he didn't show up. Maybe it was updated in Supabase. Let's refresh maybe twice and see. So it was not updated, and here is the problem or a mistake that we have made. So initially we thought, like I did it intentionally, we thought that if we only have one row, like there is no need to specify the matching row. But in reality, that which most of you might think, which is that if you have only one row, there is no need to specify the ID, but it's really necessary, no matter whether you have million of rows or one row. You have to specify. So in our cases, we have one. So the ID of that one is equal to one. Good. So let's actually do some refresh here in Google test. So now, since after we have specified which one we want to update, let's actually say John, for example. You see, now it was added. Let's add Nick. You see. Now let's say Maria, for example. Good. So now we have a list. We are now making a list. We are adding people here, as you can see. Good. So now it's time for us to switch the operation maybe to something else. So here is the operation. So we have added to list. Let's say remove from list. The same person you will type his name in the text field. So now we want to change the name of this button. So we want to change it to remove guest. Good. Sorry, I was about to download the app, the APK. Actually, let's do some refresh right here and hope it will work, and they won't get embarrassed actually in front of you. Now let's actually go and remove Nick. You see he was removed. Let's remove Maria, and she was removed. Good. Now with these two operations, like you can do whatever you like. Just come back to the up button and switch the operation, like add, remove, do whatever you want. So in this video, you have successfully learned how to use arrays in Supabase. I don't think that there is a video out there that is teaching the same thing. So here you have it. Here it did. You can just follow this same process, like save the operation, get back data, save operation, get back the data. That is all you have. These three steps will fix this array problem in Supabase. Because if you were working with the Firebase, that you won't have any problem. But in Supabase, we have this problem. So hopefully you will watch this video over and over again, and hopefully it helped you in some way. So I wish you good luck in your development journey. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Share it with one of your friends who is facing the same issue or just looking to learn new things, and also subscribe if you haven't done that. So thank you so much for your time and watching, and I will see you on the next video. And if you want me to make some video in the future, just leave it in the comment section below. I will do my best to make it as soon as possible. Thank you again, and see you on the next video.